The physician Luke in the Synoptic Gospels reported, and in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee, named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came in unto her, and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shalt call his name Jesus. For those not familiar with the story, this is the story of the Immaculate Conception, as it is referred to in the catechisms of the Roman Catholic Church. And even if the antiquated language in the King James Version may find some a bit lost in obfuscation, I'm sure you are somewhat familiar with the tale. Mary was betrothed to a good man named Joseph, when the angel of the Lord, Gabriel, appeared unto her to inform her that she would give birth to the Son of God. This is a good Jewish girl in the small town of Nazareth, from where nothing good was said to come. And now she has to tell her whole family and her fiancé that she is pregnant in a most unbelievable way. That would be a problem, and you never know what you would do in that particular situation. But that was the year 4 BC, from what the historians can gather. And a lot can happen in 2,000 years. But despite multiple predictions of prophecies fulfilled in clear disregard for the express prohibition in Revelation 22, that found even some religious adherents with bags packed waiting for the rapture in 1914, when that didn't happen 1920, and when that didn't happen 1925, only 3 of 46 miscalculations since 30 AD, anxious frenzy around the turn of the current century and the magic of the year 2000, and even some folks traveling to ancient ruins to await the mothership in 2012. Even apparently, Jewish Americans have lost faith in the predictions of a Messiah by virgin birth foretold by the prophets of the Old Testament. So that now 83% support abortion, with even some Protestant churches, including even evangelical Christians of the Lutheran denomination, exceeding the national average for adults supporting legal abortion of 59%, with others like Unitarian Universalists even surpassing atheists and agnostics in ardent support of what they call merely a medical procedure and nothing more. But most progressives are familiar with the popular film Amistad, about the slave revolt on a slave ship that found them in an American court, not recognized as men, but only as property in a Middle Passage trade. And none can forget the testimony of the chattel property and revolting cargo, Joseph Senke. Give us free. But in court, there are only 2 choices for tangible things even today. Either human life or property. And the courts of 1839, despite an abolition of the slave trade in 1807, would take another quarter century, a civil war, and an amendment to the Constitution before a Joseph Senke would be declared a human life entitled to free. On the issue of abortion, Even the progressive publication The Atlantic will acknowledge that as far back as the 5th century, across the pond in Great Britain, those under the rule of the crown accepted the theological doctrine that the soul entered the body during the quickening, or around the 16th week of gestation. Perhaps a vestige of the theology of adoptionism that was declared a heresy by the Nicene Council in the 2nd century, which had rejected the Trinitarian theology by teaching that Jesus only became the Son of God while in the womb of Mary. And this little fella here, enjoying his 17th week, is what the baby Jesus would have looked like at that point of gestation, where Jefferson's laws of nature and nature's God, as creator, would exercise his magic powers and breathe into him the animating spirit of life, entitled to life by right, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And now, thanks to the wonders of modern science and technology, many things that a physician like Luke in the Synoptic Gospels could not even imagine have occurred, including babies being born and surviving an ectopic pregnancy with their mother. And this little fella, a toddler in 2017 in merry old England, would probably look like this before he was removed from the womb in the 21st week of pregnancy. Or how about this little baby girl? Isn't she adorable? And depending on the position advanced, some physicians accept that a baby like this little girl can experience pain as early as the 20th week. Or like this little fella. But others subscribe to the proposition that a baby like this little girl will not feel pain until around week 27 or 28. Healthy Mummy tells expectant mothers that babies can even respond to the sound of music by week 20. And even though they will not open those little baby eyes until week 22, they can yet detect light as early as week 15. And after 7 months or 28 weeks, like our little girl who just began to feel pain, are reported to record REM movements, rapid eye movements, the signature characteristic of dreaming, during that period in pregnancy when babies spend most of their time asleep. But the folks at Planned Parenthood and other providers of abortion can give you a little pill like RU486 up to week 10 and tell you that you may experience a little bleeding and discomfort while this little fella here is terminated and passes naturally out of your system. But if you happen to go beyond this time period, like this adorable dancing, should we say specimen, with a little anesthesia and some ibuprofen, a doctor can perform a dilation and curettage, or D&C, and scrape this baby away out to 17 to 19 weeks in gestation. But if that deadline is missed, a dilation and evacuation, or D&E, accounting for about 1.3% of reported terminations, to use the clinical term, a doctor with an oath to do no harm can perform a dilation procedure, insert some biceps, and pull this baby out by the head, snipping the neck with some scissors, if it happens to survive. And now, apparently, those advocating a woman's choice, like Congressman Don Beyer stated in June 2015, we can judge a society by how it treats its most vulnerable. And I am a believer, spurred by the writings of the moral philosopher Peter Singer, that we can and should extend these values to all all species, inspired in that moment by a moral philosopher who is both a professor at Princeton University and a strong advocate for infanticide, when he was promoting the Humane Cosmetics Act to rescue dogs and other furry little creatures from being used in research for cosmetic products. Dr. Ralph Northam can just take this little fella at 40 weeks and give him a nice blanket and starve him until he dies of natural causes. Perhaps I'm just an old curmudgeon who likes an old-fashioned Christmas. And maybe I'm just an emotional sap for Christmas carols and manger scenes. But if life is not a miracle, then all of the science in the world can't give us rights or make this right. Give me free. My name is Major Mike Webb, and I am running for U.S. Congress with liberty, honor, and excellence. By God, let's make America great again. Honest. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.